Hey everyone, Leo with Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our Petite cake. I have all my pieces cut out here in front of me, as should you. And this is a project that features, well, round elements, which you may think are a little challenging, but we've made it and we've devised a way to make it not so hard. So here are the pieces for the container, and then we have the pieces for the bait, or for the lid. Okay, so it's a chocolate cake with some white frosting. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with this. You want to fold all these tabs down just to get them ready. And you'll notice on the end here where we don't have any tabs, there are also a series of little score marks. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to wrap this around, and we're going to take the edge of this and butt it up right against those score marks. If you can pretend that you've split that score mark in half, it's literally going to be, hair thin. You want to try to get the edge of this right on the center of it. So it's right, so you can still kind of see half of it. I know it sounds like a tall task, but it's not difficult at all. And that is going to help us create the base. And then what we're going to do is put a little bit of glue on the right-hand side of the little score marks. And then I'm also going to add a thin little line here right along the edge, and I'm going to spread that glue out to the very edge so that we make that nice and seamless. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap that around and match it up like I mentioned. I'm putting my pointer finger up here just to kind of feel and hold it in place so it's nice and flush at the top. Line that up and then just begin pressing that into place. Nice and easy. Okay. And just continue adding a downward force to it, pinching it between your two fingers until it fully sets. And that looks pretty good. And that last little step where we added a little bit of glue to the edge of this and spread it out, that is what's really going to help make this super seamless. Okay, so now we're going to take and fold all these teeth over. We have two of these pieces. Now they look very similar, but in fact one of them is a little bit smaller, and it has a little B as in base etched into it with score marks. Okay, so what we're going to do with this piece is actually drop it in like this and bring it all the way down. We call that a skeleton piece because it kind of creates what we like to call the bones of an object. Okay, and what we're going to do is glue these tabs onto this piece. Now there's a bunch of them, okay, and that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and begin just putting little dots on each of these little tabs, and we're going to try to do maybe, I don't know, like 10 at a time. And then we can fold them over so that they're almost flat, and then we'll put that down on our surface, and then we can push down. Okay, and if it's helpful, grab yourself a dowel and push down with the dowel so you don't have to risk damaging this piece. And just give that a few little pushes to help that glue make contact with the two pieces of paper there. Okay, and you can see where we added our glue. That looks nice and flush. Maybe there were a couple that had glue, well there's only one actually, that had glue on it that did not stay, and it's probably because I didn't push down with the dowel there. Okay, so we're going to do the next set. Fold those over partially, put that down flat on your surface, and go ahead and run that dowel along the very perimeter. Okay, you can push up and down like that. I try not to do that because the microphone really picks up pretty much everything that I say or do here. Okay, I've got one little tab there that was a little stray, and that just leaves these. I think we could probably manage to get these all done in one fell swoop. So despite the fact that we're working with a round object, having that little skeleton piece in there really makes this so much easier. Okay, so again, we've got glue, one little dot on each of those little tabs, fold it over all the way, almost all the way, let the table push that into place, and it's like we're churning butter or stirring a pot. Okay, and there we go. I've got a couple little guys here that I maybe wasn't completely patient with, and I'll just give that a few extra pushes. And you can always go in, and if you have a stray one, like this guy here, you can just do that manually real quick. Helps to have a finger on the inside so that you can push up against it from the inside while you're pushing down from the outside. Okay, there we go. And this one kind of came loose. Maybe didn't have enough glue on there, and that's okay. Just go in and fix that real quick and press that into place. Okay, so all the tabs are now in place. And now we can take this other piece, the piece that does not have the bee on it, and finish that off. So we'll apply our glue to this piece. I'm going to do one more semi-thick line around the perimeter so that I can then take and spread that glue out. You could also have placed the glue on this surface as well, which is actually what I typically do, so I'm not really sure why I did that. But either way should work. And just get that nice and centered and press that down. Just run your finger along the perimeter and continue pressing that down to put the little lid on, or the base I should say, the bottom of the base. And just be patient here. Okay, sometimes for a process like this, where we're putting a piece onto a bottom, it's okay to go a little bit heavier on the glue. And take a look at all of your seams, make sure everything looks good, and it looks pretty seamless. I don't really see any major gaps anywhere. Maybe on this side I do, in which case, if that does happen to you, don't feel bad. Just grab a scrap piece of paper, throw a little bit of glue on it like this. I always keep a little box of scrap in there for things just like this, for situations just like this. And then you can take this piece and just tuck that piece right in there, that little gap, and paint a little extra glue on the area that maybe wasn't sitting completely flat. And then give that a little press, give that a little extra TLC to close it up, and there's your base, okay? So now we're gonna do the same thing, roughly, for the lid, with the exception that this is obviously a different color, and we have a cool little icing pattern on here, okay? Now if you look closely, you will see that this side here is a little bit difficult for me to see it because of the texture and the pattern. But if I look at it from this side, and if you need to, feel free to grab a little marker, or I would use a very thin pen to darken those little score marks, just so that you can see them better. It's especially difficult to see this on this pearlescent paper that I'm working on, but you'll get it, okay? So just like we did with the base, I'm gonna put some glue right on this piece here, all the way down to where that little drip is. And then we're also going to put a little bit right here and spread that out to the very edge, just like we did with the base. And again, I have to do this from the other angle here because I can't really see those little marks from the outside, but that's okay. That looks lined up perfectly, and you can see that these two sections line up. That little, the contour of the little icing drip is what you can also use to help with the alignment there. So I guess I didn't really think that through while going through this, but as long as you get that aligned, that's a great indicator for where this needs to be when you join these two ends together. Okay. All right, so keep holding that, make sure that it's nice and secure before you let go. And just like we did the first time, you're gonna take and push those tabs down. And I can tell this paper is not as porous. It has almost like a coating on it, which is making it so that it's taking a little bit extra time for everything to set. Okay, great. So we'll flip that over. And now, again, we have two pieces that look like this. You'll notice that they both have slits. Okay, this slit is ultimately for when we put the cherry through as the little decorative piece. And you'll also notice that one of these sections has a letter T etched into it. Okay, so you can use the T as a reference, or you can just look at the size of the slit. The piece with the larger slit is going to go inside. Okay, just like we did the first time with the base. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to glue these tabs down onto that surface. So pull some of these out, and let's apply some glue to a few of these. I'm going to do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I'll do like 8 of them. Okay, fold those down partially, and then press that down onto your surface. This time I don't think I need to use a dowel since it's not as tall. And I'm just going to run my finger around that perimeter to get that nice and round. just like that. Okay, let's take a look. There you go. You can see the ones that I applied glue to. So let's flare out a few more. And let's apply our little dot of glue on there. Just one dot will do. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll do 8. Fold those over partially. Press that down. And if you need to kind of push this in, go ahead and do that. I don't think it's really necessary because this thing is engineered perfectly. Okay. And just continue running your finger around that inside perimeter. And I've got a couple tabs here that just need a few extra seconds. Or maybe I just didn't get enough glue on them, and that's always a possibility. Sometimes it's hard to see white on white. So I'll just do those two manually just to make sure I don't miss them. There we go. And we'll just continue here and flare out a few more. Could probably comfortably do about 10 of these, I'd say. Okay, so I've got that. Folding those over. I'll flip it down, and again, just run my finger along those tabs right up to the very edge. There we go. Beautiful. And that just leaves a handful left, and we'll get those in place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 9. Oh, by the way, I did ink the white pearlescent paper with a little bit of a light blue, just to give it a little extra interest. So again, we're going to fold those tabs under a little bit, let the table do the rest of the work while we push down from the inside. There we go. And there you have it. Perfect. Okay, so rather than putting the glue on the bottom of this, you can also put the glue on this surface, and that's fine too. And I'm going to go a little bit heavier here because I am going to take and spread this glue out to the very edge. You can throw a little bit on the inside too, that's fine. Let's spread that glue out so we have a nice clean seam when we put that top down. Okay. And here all we need to do is make sure that we align the little slit with the existing slit, because otherwise we're going to have a hard time getting our cherry through there. Get that nice and centered. And just begin. You can actually put this down on your surface if you want. It might make it easier just to press down. And then I am going to lift this up and press the rest down by hand while it's in the air, and that looks nice and crisp and clean. Okay. That is a job well done. Now be careful as you're putting this on. Those little drips might try to snag onto the base, but you can see how perfectly that fits on there. Okay, and next what we're going to do is just assemble our cherry. Now you'll notice here, oh, you know what, by the way, we also have this piece here. Okay, and this piece is a little decorative piece that's going to go right on top here. And what we're going to do, this thing is great for positioning of pearls. Okay, so when I'm done with this, and I'm probably going to do this off camera, I'm going to use each of these as a little, as a reference to where to put these pearls. You've seen those beautiful cakes where they have that beautiful decorative icing going all the way around. That's what we're trying to recreate here. We're going to do that with pearls. So if you're not doing the pearl thing and you just want to leave it like this, that's fine. But this is going to be a really nice touch, so I definitely recommend doing that. Now, what I may do before I actually put this piece on is maybe just ink that very edge again at the top, because once I put that top on, I'm seeing a little bit of white in that vicinity there, and I'm not really totally digging that. So I'm going to hit that with a little extra ink and just kind of blend it a little more, I guess you could say. And I'm going to do it from the top down, but try to maybe roughly, barely hit the surface on this side, just to kind of bring these two sections together a little more and help that icing bleed down the side ever so slightly. That blue's going to look really nice there. Just very easy. There we go. Okay. Wonderful. All right, so with that done, we can take this little this little pearl looking thing. And there are a bunch of little sections here, and you can either do one little line of glue all the way around, or if you want, you can go around and just do a few dots here and there. I would try to make sure that you have at least a little bit of glue on each little section. Okay, so then we're just going to place that right on top. Make sure it's within the confines of that top piece, and press and hold that down. Give that a few seconds, just like that. Okay, it's going to look awesome with those pearls. So I'm going to I'll show you a couple of them. Actually, I probably won't, because I want to make sure that I'm using the right colors, and I'm going to do that off camera. But if you do have these pearls without any sticky backing, and even if you do have a sticky back pearl, I would highly recommend using some glue just to make sure it absolutely doesn't go anywhere. Okay, all right, so next what we're going to do is just assemble our cherries here. And these are, I don't think they're actually symmetrical, so just be careful and make sure you grab the right one that goes on the correct side. I've got a nice red glitter paper. We're going to take just the cherry part, not this little tab here. There's a little tab connected to that. Leave that tab alone. Okay, and we're going to glue this to this bottom part of the green section. Obviously, we want a nice red cherry. Okay, get that as centered as possible, just like that. We'll do the same thing on the other side, just like that. Okay, and let's glue that into place. And then what we're going to do is we're going to glue these two cherries back to back. Now, one little tip here, this red glitter, I had red glitter paper. It's a white core, meaning when I cut it out, I saw white here. I just took a red ink pad and ran it around the perimeter on the edge so that you wouldn't see that white. And now we're just going to take a little bit of glue, apply it to the cherry, the stem, and the leaf, and we're going to connect these two. We are not putting any glue on the tabs, not yet. Just get those two connected. Okay, so now that we have the cherry put together, you'll notice that we have two little tabs here. What we're going to do, you want to make sure that you have the stem sticking out or pointing outward. We're going to take the two tabs, grab them together, and push them through this little slit. And then from the underside, we're going to split the tabs apart, one to the left, one to the right, and we're going to glue that into place. Okay, so that's glitter. And sometimes you can totally do it if you have regular glue. I just noticed that it takes an awful long time for regular glue to set when it comes to glitter. So I'm just going to fire up my hot glue. I've got this cordless one here. It's pretty cool. It does turn off kind of prematurely sometimes, and we'll throw a little bit of glue on one side. Okay, so you saw what I did there, and we're going to take it and push it up against the inside, and then we'll bring the other side back, throw a little bit of glue on there. That's probably way too much, but no one's really going to see that anyway, so it's fine. Get that little wispy glue stuff out of there, and then push that up against the inside, and that cherry is going nowhere. Okay, we can fix it and make it stand up nicely. Okay, all right, so that's pretty much it. And then we've included two additional little elements. If you've ever been to one of those fancy cake shops, sometimes they'll take a little bit of chocolate and just kind of curl it and wrap it. And it's definitely just made out of chocolate. And that's what we're going to try to recreate here. So what I'd recommend doing is just getting a nice thin dowel. This is, I think, a 1/4 inch dowel, maybe a little bit shy. And take this little strip, hold it between your finger and the dowel, and then just grab the bottom, raise this up about 90 degrees, and run your dowel through just to give it its initial curl. We'll do that with both of them. Okay. And that's going to help us curl it around the dowel. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this now and just begin curling it around the dowel. Now, if you curl it in the same section over itself, that's fine. But what you can do too to give it some height is as you wrap it up the dowel. Okay, now here I'm going to stop and wrap it on itself, and then I'll continue wrapping it up the dowel, and then I'll release it. Okay, and there we have that beautiful little embellishment that you see on those fancy cakes. Okay, so I'll do the same thing here. I'm going to grab the other end of this and just very gently start wrapping it around the dowel. I'll go up. Here I'm going to wrap it around itself, then I'll continue up, and I'll wrap it around itself again. I'll continue up all the way until the end, and then let it go. And then you can kind of shape it however you want. And just throw that right on there. And just take a little bit of hot glue just to keep it in place, and that's going to do it. But don't forget to take a look at the final photo on our website to see how I jazz this up with pearls. You can also probably take some pearls, or maybe you have some smaller bling like some rhinestones or even smaller tiny pearls, and put them around the outside to act as sprinkles. You can put some sprinkles on top too. It's really up to you how you decorate the cake at this point, but that's going to do it. So if you enjoyed the video, please take a moment and visit us on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. While you're there, hit the little bell so you get notifications anytime we release a new product, whether it be paid or free. And if you make this or anything from our latest bundle, the Sweet Treats bundle, I'd love to see it, and so would the rest of our community. So head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Treat Official. That's where you'll find myself and over 40,000 dreamers that inspire us daily. So anyway, happy cake making. Don't eat this one. Put something cool in there, maybe some macaroons, little chocolates, whatever it may be. But either way, I look forward to crafting with you again. Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos, and also please consider hitting that subscribe button. And don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section, where we have over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly videos. I look forward to crafting with you soon.